preparing everything to be able to, but we're not yet actually. And it's officially after 8. So TJ, our host, is going to say something.
Yeah, can everyone hear me? Good, all right. Welcome everyone to the first 5 mock posted in the building. So we can do, I don't know if I can do like, I can just like twirl my laptop around and give you like a quick tour of the building, the space, new space as of right now. Basically that's the first floor. We are currently working on building that out over the next couple weekends. And what's up? Oh, good. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is the 272 Cap Street. And I can go. So right now I'm currently. Let me see if I can share my screen. But right now I'm currently going to do some. Oh yeah. Okay. But yeah, I'm trying to do some. Oh Jesus. How do you share your screen?
What I can do is I can stream you from my laptop and do the camera.
Oh, I'm trying to share. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I was just behind on the notifications, but yeah. So I want to just start off with what I was doing, which I want to. The idea is to have something build. Basically, the goal is to have something that can drive around the space. So like to have like either like a butler robot that can give you drinks, or something that can sweep the place. All great things, but it needs to be able to, I guess, navigate its way around the space. And so one thing I thought of was, what if, there are going to be mules everywhere. What if we actually use some stuff? We used a ceiling or some sort of frame reference to actually move around the robot. So like to give you a rough idea of what I'm talking about here, I have Pygame starts up. This idea of the robot. Oops. An idea I try to simulate basically what a localization method called a particle filter, which basically, if you see the little blue dots, the blue dots are the more likely areas, and so it uses movement plus a visual reference to figure out where the robot is most likely. And so the blue dots are like the most likely areas the robot is, and it kind of sends out the particles are like little feelers for where it could be, because but yeah, the idea behind particle filters is it moves out and tries to understand the motion of the robot, and then it uses the center, like what the robot sees, which is what's below it, for navigation. And I'm going to show you. So I did a little bit of that last time, and someone asked me, well, that's cool and all, but how do you do it with a real, how do you extract the real hardware? And so I haven't done the filtering yet, but I decided to, this week, basically take a PyCam and kind of move it around a poster in my room. And so what you see on the right is what you see on the right is the actual like album cover. It's a King Cruel, if you're wondering. And then on the left is my Raspberry Pi camera pointed at the poster. So you see it's a little, the glare is, but yeah, with the glare, it actually does a pretty good job of navigating where, with a few exceptions of where the camera is pointed at. And so, yeah, the further steps is filtering it out and filtering it out and make sure it's like the output's smooth and takes into account motion. And yeah, hopefully getting a chassis attached to it and get it rolling. And then some like glorious future far out ideas is like actually doing like creating a 3D map of the place and updating it based on camera and IMU, which is like basically gyro data. Yeah, so pretty short. If anyone has any questions, I'm not sure when my 5 minutes is up.
Time.
Sweet.
Well done, DJ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we get a big round of applause? And the crowd goes wild.
Clap, 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 clap.
I would like to see.
Dude, you need to get the yeah. Side note, you should get the robot to say like Bueller. Anyways, I'm done.
Oh.
I'm sure somebody's got some questions. Did I see a hand being raised or waved in the general direction of the camera? A camera?
Oh, I was giving the floor to Carl. Carl wants to speak.
Carl. I didn't raise my hand, well, except for clapping.
Say something real, man.
Really?
Yeah, but who wants to, who would like to present their thing next? Yeah, let's do it, Helen. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Hey, man. No, I don't think so. I'm a Euro hacker, recent transplant. I've just moved to Portland from Berlin. I was in London before that. But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a presentation. I did a presentation earlier for some like quite corporate like I did so I figured like maybe I'll show you what I showed them and like yeah, but it's like a what's going on in the world of open source hardware, but I don't have to explain what open source means to you and like why maybe like we should like share things, so I don't need to do that part of the presentation. Maybe we shouldn't keep all of our knowledge to ourselves. I'm pretty sure everyone here already fucking knows that. But maybe I'll do something. What have I got? 5 minutes? I'm quite talky.
Yeah,
I'll try and be. I'll be good. Right. What do I have to do here? Can I share a screen? I've not used this before. Share my screen.
Right. I struggle with that.
Firefox is like, bitch, are you sure? And I'm like, all right, here we are. Let's choose the PDF. Let's see what's happening. Can you see that? Is that A screen?
I can.
All right. Well, I'm going to skip through some of the boring, like the beginner slides. That's me, by the way. I do I make stupid hardware for lols. And I care about open source a lot. And I'm head of community. I've just started this new job. I'm head of community for Crowd Supply, which is a crowdfunding platform, but we only do open source hardware, and we like turn away like 95% of people because we are grumpy. But like, so that's what I do. But I'm not going to do any of that. I'm not going to. This is some stupid shit I've made. I make a lot of ridiculous hardware things. This is one of my gesture controlled herd of robot unicorns that I made using a $10 children's microcontroller and block code and cardboard, which greatly amused me. This glove is now a MIDI controller for a synthesizer I made with open source software this is all on GitHub, by the way, so you can do this yourself. This is so it's a gesture controller with a children's microcontroller called the Microbit that the BBC did, and some crocodile clips basically, and some shitty servos, and some cardboard. And you basically wave your hand around and you get a robot to drive around. And I did like gesture controlled racing of this herd of robot unicorns. And then I turned this glove actually into a MIDI controller for a synthesizer that controlled noises of different hackerspaces. In my instance on GitHub, it's all hackerspace. It's all Pumping Station 1 in Chicago. I recorded a bunch of sounds, like all the different drills and whatever. And also the sounds of a cello that my friend had bounced off of the moon, like the signal, not the actual cello, obviously. And then it controls that now, and that's all on GitHub. So that's just a kind of introduction to like the stupid shit that I do. So, I'm not like some corporate asshole. Anyway, whatever. This is also a disco ball theremin that I made. You can actually see that behind me. Circuit sculpture harp thing I made. That's my apartment in Berlin. I miss it so much. These are some projects from my company, like not my company, Christ, I work for them. This is an open source laptop, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, I'm not here to talk to you about it. You all know what open source hardware is. I don't have to explain this to you. This was my point earlier. I was like, please don't call your hardware open source if you're literally just sharing your schematics and a JPEG of your board layout. If you're going to use open source hardware as your marketing tool, please at least do it right. So I told them about that. I don't need to make the case for why open source is good. I don't need to tell you that. This was just a shout out to the people who make the libraries that make open source hardware possible. It's not just board design, it's actually the whole tool chain beneath it, right? Arduino wouldn't have been possible without, the tool chain underneath it, the AVR programmer being open source. So I was just trying to, anyway, whatever. So this is actually what I wanted to talk to you about, not everybody here would necessarily know. So yeah, I didn't need to sell you on why open hardware is a good idea or why open source is a good idea, but I think you might not all know this. So in the way that the tool chain that was opened up underneath microcontrollers allowed some really awesome really awesome things to happen with the open, with Arduino or whatever. And we're seeing something similar happening now in the world of FPGAs, which is field programmable gate arrays. It's a reconfigurable chip, basically, which is a very powerful thing. It's nothing new in the world of industry, but it is new in the world of hackers and makers, because until recently, when the work of a really awesome hacker called Claire Wolf it did a project called Project Ice Storm. The whole of FPGA architecture, so not just the board design or whatever, but I'm talking about like the tools underneath it, right? Like the tool chains underneath it that make it open possible. So Claire Wolf did this really amazing project called Project Ice Storm, which really opened up a lot of the FPGA tool chain. And as a direct result of like her work and the work of other people around her, and other people in that community, FPGAs are now becoming actually an accessible tool in the hacker space, and it's kind of exciting. And since that toolchain has been opened up, you're seeing like a massive amount of boards being opened up as well. So these are all open source boards that are using this open FPGA toolchain. The FOMU, the TOMU, like the Lattice, like the ICE40. If I go right back to the beginning of my thing here, this one here, this Icebreaker, if anybody's curious about FPGAs, this is an open source board called the Icebreaker, done by a hacker in Oregon called Peter Esdom. He's really awesome. And this is probably my favorite go-to beginner. This is the first board I ever did an FPGA anything on, and it's got really awesome. So there's another hardware hacker here in Oregon called Joe Fitz, and he's like a security guy. But he wrote a guide to FPGAs called WTF-PGA that was smushed together with Peter Esdom's open source board here, the Icebreaker. And that was my introduction. That was the first time I used an FPGA, was through that guided workshop. And I would highly recommend it. It's very beginner friendly, very hacker friendly. And you get to use this really interesting new technology. Anyway, so back to here. I'm probably going a bit too long. Anyway, FPGA is very exciting, open toolchain. It's happening. It's in the middle of happening. You can now get these really awesome boards. So who knows what's going to happen? And I was also, no, I'm not going to talk about that. Don't have enough time. But this is Bunny. If you've not heard of Bunny Huang, then you've not been paying attention. This is his mobile dev kit, and he talks. There's a link at the end of this talk, but he talks a lot about how FPGAs are not just the opening up of FPGAs is not just important for accessibility, right? For other people to be able to afford and use these things. It's also important because FPGAs, without being open, they're not efficient and they're not truly trustworthy either. So there's a link at the end. I'd highly recommend you watch that talk. That's a Congress talk. And so the one that's at the bleeding forefront of open hardware, so there's this journey, right? There's the boards, there's the people who are sharing that open hardware, like the designs of that open hardware. And that's like very much like the top level, that's the users. And then you've got like the tool chains underneath it. But then there's also this whole group of people who are like, okay, how do we make something open source all the way down to the lowest level possible, which is the silicon? And there are really exciting things that are happening right now in that world. So this is my cheesy and or gate slide. So like, it's not just a question of sharing the layouts, right? It's a question of all the tool chains that go underneath producing those chips. And this is the last slide. I promise I'll shut up after this. But this is this is a collaboration that's happening like right now. So this isn't just theoretical. This is a collaboration between Google, but okay, fine, and Skywater, who are a chip foundry, who are the first one. So Google, so it's not Google. What I say is Google. It's not like, oh, this big Google thing. It's actually this really amazing open source engineer called Tim Ansel, who's a Google engineer, but he is actually way cooler than being a Google engineer. He's actually Tim Ansel, who's, you know, he does a lot of really amazing work for open source hardware. So it's Tim Ansel's project, who works for Google, plus Skywater, who were the first chip foundry who actually said yes to him when he was. So there's all this shit, right, so that goes into making a chip. And one of the biggest things that's not open, the biggest roadblock in making an open chip is the PDK, which is essentially the design process, right? It's how do you turn your design from from the digital files, right, your CAD files, what's the actual process in which you turn that into a layout for your physical transistors? It's the physical design process. And until now, that has been proprietary, and that has been hidden, and that has been only been able to access if you sign an NDA for that individual chip foundry. And that is the way that they have been hoarding knowledge. But this project is the first time in the world that process has been made clear, right? It is fully open source. That process from which you transform a design into a physical piece of silicon is now fully exposed thanks to the work of this project. It was Google, Skywater, which is the foundry, the chip foundry, and eFabless, who is run by this really cool guy called Mohammed Qassem, who's, again, I linked to his talk afterwards. That is happening now, and if you are interested, there are completely free of cost shuttle runs. A shuttle is like when you make a chip, right? Like is the is the okay, shit, I'm over time. Okay, I'll stop. But it's happening now. There are like 30 or 40 spaces per run. It's completely free of charge. The only thing is it has to be 100% open source, because the point of this process is that other people can learn how to become chip designers themselves. And that's it. So if you're interested, it's all on. So the Skywater PDK is actually fully downloadable from GitHub, which is the first time that's ever possible. It's the first time anyone has ever been able to access a PDK and just download it instead of having to, so like, yeah, I'm sorry. But if you're interested in the last bit, the chip design, there's the democratizing IC design. That's a talk, and that's got like 3 or 4 talks on it if you're interested, including one from Mohammed Qassem from eFabulous, where he talks about the Skywater PDK. And the other one I'd really recommend, so that if you're going to click on any 3 links in this one, I would click on open source is insufficient to solve trust problems. That's the talk by Bunny Huang at Congress about attack vectors in hardware and like why open source is more secure, but also kind of it doesn't really matter. Tim Ansell's talk at Fuzzy is really good, and then the democratizing IT design is also like really, really good talks. So that's me. I'm done. Sorry, I went over time. Where's my? No, I can't. I don't know how to stop. Did I stop?
Make it stop.
I can't stop it. I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry.
Moderator.
Wait. Oh no.
Do the screen share again.
I've like, wait, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't do software, I just do hardware.
Already fucking knows that. And you can learn. You're ready.
I'm Oh my god, I can't stop it. I'm so sorry. Wait.
I think if someone else shares, it might actually override you.
Yeah, and Helen, if you do hit screen share again, it'll stop. And or click your video icon. And if all else fails, just refresh.
And now you can see my terminal window.
Now you see your terminal.
Oh, wait, here we are. Look, did I do it? No, when I say stop sharing, it just crashes. I'm going to leave and come back in again, maybe.
Thank you. Yeah, that should.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll hang up and come back in. All right, see you in a sec.
Who's next, TJ?
Do we have any takers? Is that Tyler presenting from the old Noisebridge space?
The old Noisebridge space. I've reconstructed the shelves. my private hacker space.
You actually just like flew in and just to stand over there.
I mean, we got to be 6 feet apart, TJ. So I'll hang out at the old Noisebridge.
Yeah. No, that was super interesting. I didn't realize, because I was actually going to ask, like, the fabrication, because I know, like, so like in self-driving cars, for instance, they're like, for a lot of the different cars, one of the big bottlenecks, like a lot of different bigger companies are creating like custom chips for running like AV software. Just because they need to cram so much into the car.
I mean, I think one of the points of one of the outcomes that they're hoping for from this, like, so Google are putting quite a lot of money into open source chips, and obviously their motivations aren't purely altruistic. For fuck's sake, obviously it's Google, they're evil, but like. I think they're looking at the Tim Ansell talk that I talked about earlier was really enlightening, kind of looking at how Google are worried about like the declining number of chip designers and how like chip foundries are now becoming more and more and more like centralized, right? There's like a single point of entry, and like if these few foundries that have this capacity fail, then actually that's a huge insecurity for a behemoth like Google. It's like a security issue, that there are no small, that this is like a small unhealthy ecosystem. But it was really interesting to look at it from that point of view, because I'm looking at it from like the indie. Like it's good to have, I don't know, whatever. Sorry, I had my shot 2 days ago, and I'm feeling not. My brain is a fuzz, so I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling as intelligent. I'm good at responding to things as I normally would be. Sorry.
I just got my shot yesterday afternoon, and like the fever started hitting me this afternoon. So I'm also in kind of like the weird half awake stage.
I feel I feel you, like, yeah, and I'm not yeah, whatever. I hope that was like an interesting little dive into some of the stuff that's happening in open hardware anyway.
Yeah, no, that was super awesome. I always feel like, as you said, I guess what I was trying to say is that it always felt like companies always use FPGAs to like get ahead of the little guy, and so having FPGAs can be open source is really cool.
FPGAs are they are in the middle of a massive boom. I'd say one of the cool things about working for Crowd Supply as an open hardware nerd is actually like I get to see what people are I see what people are submitting, so I see like kind of the trends, right? Mm-hmm. And there's so many fucking people using FPGAs just in like all sorts of boards and also like it's and that is because like I was a beneficiary of the open microcontroller boom, right? Like I came up on Arduinos, but like I've never. Mm-hmm. It's really interesting to see that happening for another technology,
Yeah.
It's super cool, and there's lots of people doing really interesting things with it. Yeah. It's such a mindfuck. Who's used an FPGA here? Like, is anyone like? So an FPGA, all of the lines of code execute at once, and I was like, the first time I did it, I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, this feels wrong to me. Yeah, it's really, if you're into microcontrollers, you should definitely like at least have a dabble with an FPGA, just because it's. I don't know, it's super fun. It's like, okay, cool. So I've got this thing and I'm like, right, I need this chip that has 40 PWM. And you're like, okay, cool. Well, I'll use LiteX, which is a Python framework, I write a few lines of Python and suddenly I have a chip with 30 PWM on it. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy that you can do that shit. But then, the first workshop I did, I mean, I'm not an FPGA expert at all. I've just dabbled in it. Like, I've used like a few. I've used Icebreaker and Tiny FPGA and like a couple of others as well. But it was really fun. But it works really differently to a microcontroller, and it kind of blew my mind. So I'd recommend it. I recommend the Joe Fitz's WTF PGA booklet. It's like a zine that you can download that talks you through how to use FPGAs and like what they do. He's a Portland hacker. So yeah, sorry. I haven't had social contact with hackers for a long time, so I'm talking too much, and now I'm embarrassed.
Wow, this is awesome.
And the crowd goes wild.
Boop, 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 boop.
Whoa.
Rah, 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 rah. Muting.
So anybody who would like to go next?
I mean, if no one's jumping to sign up, I didn't sign up for anything, but I can talk about the platform I've been building for a little while.
There
pretty much all I've been up to.
no sign-ups, so just jump in if you feel like it.
All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna do it. Share my screen, see if I've got better luck than the people. Oh, wait.
That was me. Sorry, I just had to clear my buffer there.
Just immediately see screen crashed. All right. So I'm going to tell you about my company. It's called Resolve. So this is an open source bug bounty program. And what you can do is you can go to the site and you can find a bunch of like issues to work on, and you can earn a bounty for fixing them. So, what we've got is, any kind of a issue that you've got on GitHub, you can pull into the site. And okay, I'm gonna go with where I'm actually already signed in. You pull issues like from your projects and stuff into the site. You can add a bounty on it if you want to get something fixed. If you want to just like pull in an issue from like someone else's repo, or like something that you follow that's like had some bugs sticking out there forever and you're tired of it, you can pull it in. You can throw a bounty on it. You can get things crowdfunded. So like, we've got a few things like this, typo RM one where we've, got a $105 bounty, but we've had like a ton of people throw $5 at it as it goes, because like as every time you put a bounty on it, lets people know on GitHub, and then other people can just like throw another $5 on it. Like someone just did this earlier today. So it's a cool way to kind of like raise some awareness, get some interest behind issues, and then whenever you want to solve it, you just put in a pull request, link it to the site, and whenever the pull request closes out, you get your bounty. And we've got some cool sites on here, like i3. If anyone's like in the Linux window management, this is a great one. We've had a few kind of like pop up here, a couple outstanding bounties for that as well. Let's see, what else do we have? Oh, we also have a cool maintainer split option. That's the most recent thing I built out. So like whenever you are actually earning a bounty, or whenever you get to accept the bounty, there's an option just to like donate the whole bounty back to the repo. So as it stands, there's already like a 10% cut that gets donated to whatever project it is, because it takes some time and effort to actually review code and merge stuff in. But we had a lot of people who just like, they see the bounty, they want to work on it, and then they don't really care about like getting $100. So they just want to donate it all back to the repo. So build that out just most recently with like some GitHub sponsors and open collective integrations. And that's kind of how the site works. I've been doing it for about a year now. Got some good users on it, and really excited. And that felt like 5 minutes. Maybe it wasn't.
Applause.
New project.
Pay me.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions? Nice. I like that one.
Can you get paid in Doge? You cannot get paid in Doge. I'm sorry. Only cash, unfortunately. That useless thing.
So does it? Do you assign bounties? Is it basically just pull requests that get assigned bounties, or Like
It's
you
just
put a zero issue, and then you assign a bounty to it, and then you get a.
yeah,
like
it's just issues. They get a bounty. And the way you earn the bounty is you put in a pull request that fixes it.
Okay. Does it have? And I assume it has to be approved. And like when it gets approved, that's when you collect your bounty.
Yeah, so the conditions that we kind of listen for are like pull request merged in, and so if the pull request is merged in, and if the issue is closed, then yeah, we call it done and send out the bounty. It's nice when people use like proper GitHub etiquette and they actually tag things saying issue or pull request number 5 closes issue number 1000. But we've a lot of there's still a little bit of like a manual step in there. We haven't fully automated it, but mostly that's our win condition.
Yeah. What if something happens in release? Does it just like start another issue?
I think that you would raise another issue for that
Okay.
one. There's actually there's one right now, kind of a similar case. Someone solved an issue for Octoprint, which is one of my favorite libraries. And it's like they solved it, they fixed the bug, but it's also like not going to get merged because they wait on they do like a monthly release. So those are some like interesting edge cases there where it's like I would kind of consider it done. The person should get their bounty, but also it's like it doesn't close the issue until they actually release it live.
Okay. Anyways, I'll let other people ask. Yeah, thank you very much, Tyler, for presenting your I guess your start of 2020.
Yeah.
And round of applause.
Here.
Hey, Tyler. Great job. A nice presentation. I'm motivated. I'm what's the quote? Like to subscribe to your literature. Intrigued by your philosophy. Yeah, I remember that. That's right. That's a classic. I'm intrigued by your philosophy and would like to subscribe to your literature. That is all.
I'll write that one down.
No, seriously, it looks great. I have a very short attention span, and I faded out, and then I faded right back in, and I looked at your user interface, and it looks clean. I heard how you do things, and I'm like, wow, I should fix some bugs or something. Like, what I thought to myself, how I would use your site is I would find, a project that I was familiar with, that I was already all figuring out how to make it work the way I need it to work, and I'd see if there was some use case for how that project and your framework, and then I would I don't know, encourage a bounty. Is the bounty something I wasn't really listening when you described this? If you described this, is the bounty have some kind of like crowdsourcing element where you encourage people to put up for the bounty, or is this all like mostly corporate?
Actually, it's entirely crowdsourced right now.
All right. Did you talk about that? Did I miss it?
I think I just mentioned it in regards to like a few of the things.
I didn't hear that.
Issues.
That makes it a million times cooler.
Yeah, so the bounties are entirely
awesome.
like crowdsourced right now, which is cool. I think it's cool, but it's also like not exactly where I want to go with it. I would rather get some more like big ticket bounties. because so like when I let people throw $5 at something, it is really cool. And as far as like, the main thing that they're doing is they're showing like how invested they are in it. Like they use the repo, they use this library, and they care enough that they want to like throw $5 at it. But yeah, the other side of the feedback is like, 10 people do that, you've got $50 for something that's going to take like 3 weeks of engineering. And usually $50 doesn't buy that much engineering time. So it's more of like the motivation there, I think, is like less the money and more of like you're showing that like you've got enough users who care about it to put in their own money. But I would also really like to see like a $10,000 bounty on something where I don't think that someone's just gonna stumble on the site and be like, yeah, I'll throw 10,000 at this.
Sure, that's a really interesting dynamic where people will do stuff for free, for love, and whatever else we get back from not having any dollar figure attached. And then if you put a figure on it, you're like, no, wait, that's like $50 an hour, maybe, okay. But I think there's a way that $50 could just be like a token of your esteem, or who knows, an international audience, or I was young and needed the money, or I'm doing this for my portfolio, but I got paid for it, I can put that on my resume, my first paying open source bounty gig. Who knows?
Hey,
I don't think
$50 is a lot if you're not in America, by the way.
Yeah, and we've had
$50,
$50
is
$50 is $50.
$50 is a lot of money in some places.
Yeah, 50 euros is probably like a week's worth of food in Berlin.
No, I'm talking like I'm also from Europe. Like I'm talking about like there's loads of people all over the world where they have different currencies that $50 would be.
Pay me in Doji, and you really might expand your audience. Hopefully, it would be expanded in a good way. But no, seriously, I don't know. I mean, digital money is definitely worth more in some countries than others. Anyway, blah blah. That's a total tangent. I don't know what I'm talking about, but interesting. Anyway.
But as far as like the crowdsourcing aspect of it goes, like you've got, pretty much there's just a add money button on every issue. And, you can put $100, you can put $2. I think the minimum is $1. So it's like anyone can just, go add stuff to it. And whenever you do like add a bounty to it, it like, posts that bounty back through on GitHub. So that's where usually people like see someone, so-and-so added $5, then they'll also click it and, add $5.
All right. So here's my free advice worth more or less what you paid for it. Maybe less, but engagement, and we know what that means, addictiveness, right? You got to get that dopamine hit, and every time they push a button, I don't know how you do it. Micropayments, blinking lights, some hypnotic suggestions. But if I could suggest a call to action, a motto, a slogan, if you're looking for one, if it fits somewhere in your scheme, I like give till it hurts. Anyway, that's all I got. Good luck with it. It could work. Like, just like I'm painting the picture. I'm available for psychological manipulation consulting. You're gonna have to pay me in Doji, dog.
I'll pay you in Doji.
The robot asked who is next.
All right. Well, I'm hoping we have one or more, but I'd be happy to close it out or bridge the gap with pictures, just a quick reel of pictures from the Saturday build out that has happened 5 days ago and it's going to happen again 2 days from now or something like that. All right, on Saturday. Yeah, I could just stress the video streaming and just hold the arrow key down and see if this stream of images turns into some kind of virtual slideshow or something. And I might talk some shit while doing that, but I think I'm mostly going to let the pictures speak for themselves, 1,000 words at a time. So I'm available for that anytime.
Now is time.
Yes.
Alrighty then, here we go. Let's see if I find the window to share. Is it the tab crash reporter again? Could be. You know what? I don't want to look through like a dozen window titles, and I bet it is tab crash reporter. So we're just gonna start there. No, it wasn't. Look at all those tabs. Damn. All right. And let's see. Pics.fnor.party. Okay, here we go. All right. Looking good. Can everybody see?
I can see it.
All right. So this is from a few days ago. Everything's different now. It's changing, like not daily, but a few times a week. Stuff will get materially deranged, and it's coming together. So we're kind of opening up some space as we compact stuff like under tables and stuff. Anyway, without further ado, I'm gonna find a rhythm here. But we're seeing the roll-up gate outside now. Sun is shining. It's a beautiful day. People are helping. Quality, not quantity. It was a small turnout, and it's just the way we were hoping it would be. Just quality time with excellent volunteers. Upstairs now. That's the wall that, a few pictures back, electronics room. And this has all been like totally music room. Any questions? Should I slow down? Should I back up? Shall I enhance? I couldn't quite make out the comments from the, with all due respect, the peanut gallery, I'm assuming. Is that some robot quacking at me?
I feel like he's saying to slow down.
SLOW.
Yep, that was it.
Thanks, robot. I can dig it. We're going to slow down and we're going to, this is the place where time reverses. I can go backwards for a minute. So there's upstairs. We're looking into the different rooms. Oh man, I really was moving quickly, huh? Oh, okay. So we're coming up the stairs. You see the Bandersnatch collection all clustered at the back of the stairway behind the security bars. Yeah, this is Noisebridge's most prized artistic possession so far. All right. Weather station. Now this wall here is now got the beginnings of a mural painted on it.
Yeah, did TJ already show the mural at its current state?
Yeah, we put a TJ. No, I'm not sure who took the picture, but we have some pictures on Discuss. I took a few pictures. I put them on there. So there's a thread on Discuss. I don't want to lose track of this tab, lest the the tab crash.
Yeah, that's right.
Return.
No, yeah, I posted one of the pictures on Discuss. I just didn't know if there was
right. Yeah, I
there's
added
an
a
update.
few.
I'm not sure how far along it is, but I'm excited to see it.
Okay, well maybe we'll get to that after we get through this. But I'm gonna go nice and slow. But we got I take so many pictures because most of them turn out blurry. Okay, so electronics room, music room. This has not changed very much, but you see our keyboards collection. And somebody's going to make a musical typewriter and possibly a Casio synth keyboard or whatever that is. Maybe it's a Yamaha, but that types, musical code. I don't know. It's a mashup. But this is a nice room. It gets a lot of light through the windows to the windows. I don't know if that shows up in any of the pictures. Oh yeah, there we go. So looking out the windows there, there's windows on the other side of that. Those go outside and you're looking at the back of 2169 Mission. So how about that, huh? Small world. And nice big room. And Noisebridge is so photogenic. I think I just really enjoy framing and composing, getting the angles, and yeah, it's a really a target-rich environment for enriched imagery, and it just feels so good to be in this space. So I hope some of that comes through in these pictures. And much appreciation for the people who have been putting together such an awesome space to hack in. Anyway, this is our neighborhood. This is a view from Cap Street. You can see Noisebridge at the top right of this image, and then this nice beehive motif is on the side of the wall. You wouldn't know it unless you walked up this way. For Creative Motors, our neighbors across the street. Good people, good times. And here we are, 272 Cap from the outside. And it's just, yeah, I mean, we made it. We moved from 2169. Nobody died of corona. No, nobody fell off the roof, and we're I don't know. It's just, waiting to be reborn. Or I don't know. It's fill in the poetic blanks here. But okay, we're down on the first floor again. You see this artifact here, the windmill looking, the water wheel looking. That's a Windhurst machine. It's analogous to Lord Kelvin's water dropper. It segregates electrostatic cling to make lightning sparks and stuff. And that's been at Noisebridge forever. So there it is. You see it's sitting on top of some soon-to-be electronics workbenches, if you recognize where we stack the scopes and soldering irons and that stuff. How am I doing on time? Are we all still here? I'm about 2/3 of the way through, so I'm just going to... Yeah, I mean...
Keep it rolling.
Say that again, robot.
He said, keep it rolling. Have a nice time. Knock yourself out, man.
Yeah, just look at the pictures. Beautiful, beautiful pictures. And is that it? Okay, down on the first floor again, Floschentoschen. Carl was here, sewing area. This has gone through some changes of the expansion variety. I put a big table down next to it, but that's in another reel yet to be posted. The view from the outside, the roll-up door, the nanny cam with the safety vest there. That'll tune in to any sounds of babies crying and other pre-programmed alerts. Yep. And back to the sewing area. It's and back at the beginning. I get it. All right. So good. And now what else we got here? We got to discuss. Let's just see what we see here. Derp, derp. The mural pictures. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, my poor browser. We still got the Christmas lights up on the Discuss forum. And here we go. The thread is titled First 272 Mural is on its way. Posted today by The Man Moran. Thanks, Tyler. And there's the shot that Amy posted on her Twitter with the commentary. So excited to finally share that I'm painting my very first mural. It's been a long time dream of mine, and I feel like Noisebridge is the perfect place for me to paint my first mural. I will be sharing progress over the next few weeks. Posted by Sailor Mercury, aka Amy, the artist, who brought her wonderful assistants and was facilitated by the excellent Tene TJ, an ex facilitating the facilitators. And here's some shots. I'm going to try to zoom in a bit. I don't know if I can. Let me, Control plus, right? Okay, because some art here, some artistic renderings. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we get the full aspect ratio. All right. So you can barely make out the pencil marks on the wall. Tene and Amy. This is like so cyberpunk heroics. Let me get the icon, the cursor out of the way here. Let's start over. Ta-da! Ta-da! Yeah. Oh, a wild assistant.
That's so cool, man. So cool.
Appears for consultation. Yeah, I'm totally psyched to see art happening at Noisebridge. This upstairs space, I'm gonna say it makes a nice studio area. It really does, and we have the technology, the access to the means of productions for artists who need like framing and all that, like nuts and bolts stuff, gallery space, connections. So I'm totally psyched to see this happening and putting the word out. Noisebridge is a safe space for artists. That's all I put here. I have so many more photos that I sent to Tene for her curation, and she'll pick a few out for posting or approve the role for me to select from. But there we go. And yeah, so Tene set up a tripod and getting a time lapse and all kinds of stuff. So we're documenting like Noisebridge 2021. And yeah, all right. That's my story. Let's stick to it. Saturday. TJ, do you want to tell us more about what's happening this Saturday?
Yeah. So the basic, I think the good plan. Anyways, good plan for this Saturday is we have some stuff basically laid out for the upstairs. We could um, basically set up the downstairs. As you can see here, there's a lot of really cool. We have the flashing right here, but basically, if we have maybe one step could be to open up a little bit of this place, so kind of move around some of these items here. There's also some like the sandblaster we're holding. We might be able to move, basically clear up some stuff here, so basically so people can actually congregate in this area. Also, I was thinking, so here's where I was standing at the podium. But this could be our like little event space. It's a nice open area. So we could get some power outlets, basically clear up some stuff along the walls. Maybe move this laser cutter toward the back. And there's a power outlet over there. And we could probably set that up with some of these tables here, and our hackatorium table here, and set up a space and set up the event space, so that if we have a meeting, come when post pandemic occurs, we could actually have a group of people in here. And I think there is also some interest by Victor. Tyler, I think he mentioned you've known before, but he mentioned that a venue could be like for potential things like accompany, could be in this downstairs venue here. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. I'm gonna try and maybe I have a list of some of the items that I would like to kind of move around. But yeah.
Any more speakers?
Yeah, I like